What's going on, everybody? God bless. Just a little update on the Nazarene Bible College. A couple weeks ago, I completed lifelong learning skills. And this is a class that they make you take in the beginning, and they only let you take it one class at a time. They won't let you take it with anything else. As far as what I thought of the class, it was more difficult than I thought that it would be. It does a lot of like critical thinking skills. It covers your learning style, settings for studying. So it has a lot of good things in it that you can use over your whole career as a lifelong learner, as long as you plan on going to school, and just in everything, just how to read a book. Like, this is one of the books, and check out the title, How to Read a Book. The book about how to read a book. And I didn't know what to think at first when I looked at it, but there's actually a lot of very enlightening things in this book, and it's a really good read. I would recommend, if you have time to read it, go ahead and read it. This is one of the textbooks. I got mine on eCampus used. I would recommend it if you want to read it, but it is one of the books that's required for the class. Very interesting. Another one of the books, of course, the MLA Handbook, and it's changed again because there's a lot of stuff in regards to internet citing and stuff like that, the websites and all of that. So you always want to stay up to date on your MLA stuff if your college requires you to use the MLA format. So this is not really a textbook, but a reference book. So when you want to cite something, it'll give you everything in the order and stuff like that. So I really enjoyed that because I don't know why I always have some type of anxiety when it comes to citing. I always think I'm going to miss something, but I don't know if that's natural for everybody. It was a little bit more difficult than I thought it would. I struggled a little bit at first, and I really had to reevaluate what I was doing and what was working, what wasn't working. So I had to change up my study location. I had to change my study habits. And the interesting thing, like after I learned about like my learning style, there's a few books here and a few little exams that you have to do to come up with your learning style. So this one, Looking at Type and Learning Styles by Dr. Gordon Lawrence, is one of them. So you can do little assessments, and it'll tell you what type of learner you are, and then kind of what helps you when you learn, what helps you when you study, how you learn. If you learn better, like say like in the classroom, out of the classroom, by instruction. If you learn better by like graphs, or if you learn better by just reading by yourself. This is the introduction to the Myers-Briggs Type. These are both required books. Pretty interesting. You find out a lot about yourself in here. I never really thought about my learning style. I've always been the type where I have a really good memory, so I can go over something, and then when it comes to like a multiple choice test, I can use it by memorization. But sometimes they ask you things that they want your input. You know, what do you know about it? So then the memory part doesn't really help for me, but there's ways that I can study and review that really help me. Breaking my little study and review periods into half an hour to 45-minute sections, then giving a little bit of time in between. My brain is still processing all that, then coming back to it. Just little simple things like that this class will teach you. Critical thinking skills. I'm a very passive learner, so I don't really become active. So it kind of showed me how to become an active learner as you're going along, highlighting while you're reading. What else? If you're highlighting while you're reading, asking questions while you're reading, why, the 5 W's, who, where, when, why, what, and who, and find out why. Why is this practical? How does this affect this, and how does that affect that? Stuff like that really helped me retain a lot of the information. I never really thought about these things. I never really thought about. It's one of those things you don't ever really think about how you think or how you process things until you break it down. Like this book here helped me right here. This is the Study and Critical Thinking Skills in College. This is a mandatory book also. This was a newer edition for this session right here. It's the 8th edition. But this is a very interesting book too, and it's very helpful. Helped me come up with a lot of my note taking my taking was horrible, and I realized that it is horrible, and it always has been horrible because I rely more on my memory. But it showed me ways that fit my learning style. We all have a different learning style and ways that we learn things, but it showed me tips and tricks on how to learn things my way. After the second week, the first 2 weeks, it was a little iffy. I was almost thinking like, man, this is a lot tougher than I thought. If all the classes are this tough, I may not make it. And I've been going to college for quite a while, but after I started applying a lot of these skills and a lot of these tricks, after the second week, it really improved. You could see the turnaround in my study habits. I was spending less time studying, but retaining more information on the quizzes and stuff at the end of the week. I was retaining a lot more knowledge and going through them a little bit quicker. One thing that I didn't mention to the instructor or anybody else is, I think because this book was a newer edition, a lot of the multiple choice quizzes at the end, there was stuff that was in chapters, like the very end of a chapter before, or at the very beginning of a chapter after the chapters that it said that the quiz was. And I think that's just because they moved the chapters and maybe some of the information around. There was the second week, that was really bad. And then it went away for the third, fourth, fifth week. But then in the sixth week, it came back. Where it was in I think we were doing like chapters 14, 15, 16. And the information that I didn't know, it was closed book, closed notes. I didn't use my notes or my textbooks, so I was like, where did I miss this information? How did I miss this information? And I never missed the information. It was actually in the end of chapter 13. So I debated, well, should I mention this or should I not mention it? I'm pretty sure that I should have mentioned it, but I really didn't. So if you guys have that trouble when you take the class, mention it. I just kind of forgot to do it, and now it's been over for about 2 weeks. I was a little concerned at first in the class, but I ended up with a 93.3, so I was very proud of myself. But I did have to change my study habits. I had to change the way I took notes, and I had to change the way that I reviewed the information. It did challenge me. Mentally, it did challenge me, but I think that it was helpful. One of the things that was really, I talked to another student that had taken it a while back, and it's almost like I like to read my Bible a lot, but this took away time. So I almost felt like I was going away from Bible time for a secular class because it's not really biblically based. So I almost had that feeling like, man, do I want to do this? I'd rather stay in my Bible and all of that. But in the long run, applying the skills, the lifelong learning skills that I learned through all of this, all the way from the way you set up your study area to maybe some light music in the background, some Mozart, to the lighting that you use, to your surroundings. Sometimes I got 4 kids, and when they're really going and everybody's going on, it's hard to study. But applying everything that I learned in this class in general is going to benefit me in the long run. And I've already seen it in my next class. Right now I'm taking an introduction to the New Testament, and I'm already applying some of those skills, and it's helping me to retain information better and understand things better by becoming an active learner instead of just a passive learner like I used to be. I'm really starting to apply the critical thinking skills to things and wanting to understand why, who. It's important when you want to know, why did Paul write this letter? Who was he writing it to? And things like that, I think helps you retain the information a lot better, helps you to understand it better. So as far as the class, yes, it is challenging. Yes, it was frustrating at first, but in the long run, do I believe that it's going to help me in ministry? I absolutely do. I absolutely think that if I apply these note-taking skills, this review study skills, the way just becoming a better reader, being an active learner, learning how to read a book. I never thought about skimming through a book, checking the prefix, checking everything out, before I even read it. And now I do, checking out the summaries, checking out the author's blurb. What if you're standing there and you don't have much time? You got to choose between 2 books. There's a lot of things you can check out besides just what's in the body of it. So I'm glad that I took the class. Critical lifelong learning skills with the Nazarene Bible College. I got a 93.3. If you guys have any questions or anything like that, please leave them in the comments below or contact me. God bless you guys. If God calls you into ministry, do be obedient with Him. God bless you guys. Have a great day. Take care.